All right, we learned about compound interest and I showed you the formula for compound interest, but at year 11 and going into year 12, once you learn how to use this app called TVM Solver, you don't need to use the formula again. You can use the calculator. The calculator will carry you through this. When you do general maths in year 12, as soon as you do compound interest, you just use the calculator, okay? It carries you for this. To find anything, so the compound interest formula is set up to find FV, so it allows us to find FV, and you can also find PV easily at our level of maths. But to find anything else involving compound interest, you need an app, and that app is called TVM Solver, all right? Most of you, does anyone here have a graphics calculator? Yeah, it's, before they used to kind of push it, but it's silly to ask you to get a graphics calculator, which is like $180 in year 11, when you're unlikely to need it, all right? So instead of having a graphics calculator, I've attached to all of your lessons on DayMat 3 options you can use, which you'll be allowed to use in class and for your test. So can you get your device out, please? And I just want to see which of the options works for you people. So attached to DayMat, can you see that there's allowed TVM calculators? Can you click that, please? My first preference is this one. Can you tell me if that works for you as a student? Because I only have access as a teacher, and when I click this, it seems to work. Does yours blocked? Okay, so that's fine. That's why there's 3 options.
Mine's fine.
Oh, what hacks do you have turned on?
Mine works.
Okay, if yours works, use it. Because the reason why that's the preferred one is next year, if you're going to do general or essential maths, you're going to be using a graphics calculator. What's up? Can you quickly have a look? This is recording, so don't. Where are you going to go? You can see it? Okay. If you can access this, please use it, because you'll actually be able to practice using a graphics calculator. Now, can we test the second option? Can you try this GeoGebra one? Because, okay, this is working. Does yours look like this? Okay, this morning it literally wasn't working for me, so this looks like it is working. If it's working, leave that on your screen. This is the second preferred option. Why? Because it looks very similar to what the graphics calculator looks like. So if yours version works, please use the graphics calculator, click on it. If anyone knows what an emulator is, that's literally what this is doing, it's emulating a graphics calculator. So the reason why that other option was preferred is, can you see how the calculator looks very similar to the GeoGebra one? It's as close as possible. You have one last resort if any of those aren't working, which is the third one here, financial calculators. It's just as good, it's just that these aren't in the same order as a graphics calculator. So only use this as a last resort. So just a reminder, first preference this. It sounds like only a couple of people have access to that. Second preference, this. I'm going to leave this up here now, okay? All right, that was no notes. I was just checking that you could access it. The notes start here. All right, to open TVM Solver. Is that on the screen? To open TVM Solver, if you're using the graphics calculator, if you're using this, you don't need to get these instructions on how to open it. This is just for the people actually using the graphics calculator. So if I quit out of this, I'll zoom in. Oh, that's bad. Can I zoom in? Yeah, there. If you're using the graphics calculator and you want to access TVM Solver, press the apps button. Can you see the apps button in blue? If you're on the graphics calculator. Who's on it? Yep, press apps. Can you see the first option is One Finance? Can you press enter on that? And can you see the first option is TVM Solver? Press that. So if you're using the graphics calculator, that's how you access this app that we're talking about. If you don't have access to the graphics calculator, it just opens like this, okay? Now, what do all of these things mean? The N stands for the total number of periods in the whole arrangement. So for example, If I was compounding monthly for 3 years, how many times would it compound overall? 36. So that's what N is about. Think and go, okay, I've got my arrangement for 3 years. If it's compounding monthly, 3 times by 12, 36. I is the interest rate as a percentage. You don't need to convert. So if your interest rate was 5%, you just chuck in 5 to I. You don't need to make it 0.05. PV is the principal. PMT is the regular payment. In year 11, we leave it at 0. But because some of you are working, I might do some actual useful life examples involving PMT. But in your tests and in your exercises, PMT will be 0 at year 11. FV is the final value of the arrangement or the future value. PY and CY, payments per year. CY is the compounding periods per year. At year 11, these stay the same. And then lastly, if you're on the graphics calculator, can you see how end is selected for you on the graphics calculator? Please leave it at end. That goes into year 12 as well. If you're using this GeoGebra thing, you don't need to worry about that. Can I ask you, please, this is important to have on your cheat sheet so you understand what all of those entries are. When you're doing the test, I will allow you to have a TVM solver open and a calculator, and I'll patrol around. If anything else opens, I'll just take your test from it, okay? Why are we doing that? Because you don't have graphics calculators, and it would be ridiculous to ask you to get them. So can you just get this explanation to start off with? I understand that it looks like a lot of information, but you need to know that to get fast at this. When you get fast at it, this makes compound interest very easy. You won't be able to use it though unless you know what N, I, PV, PMT means. Yep.
What's the last one named PMT and begin?
Are you able to use the emulated graphics calculator online? So if you're using this, you don't need to worry about that, okay? Yep.
When you put the interest rate into the percentage, do you add the percentage number on the calculator, or do you just put the number?
You just put the number. Then I'm still getting this. You're alright with this now? Is this a little bit more instant? Huh? Move it over to the side. Alright, all I showed you there was how. Can someone check if this board is. Wait, I want the edge to be on the screen.
It's on the screen.
Is it right on the edge there?
No.
Keep going across it.
To the left?
Yeah. Bit more. Bit more. Stop.
Thank you. Right, get that, because that explains how you use the app. All I told you was what the variables mean. And it is important to draw the stick figures, because the way that the app works is from your point of view. If the money is going away from you into the bank, the sign needs to be negative. If the money is coming to you, then it's positive. So how do we use this app? Make sure we're talking about a compound interest question. What do? You enter all the info you know from the question into the variables. PV, PMT, and FV can be positive or negative depending on the direction the money is going. TVM solver is from your point of view. So, if you're putting money into the bank, PV, PMT, FV, they would be negative. If the money is coming to you from the bank, then PV, PMT, FV are positive. You must use, if you're using the online calculator, so this is only for the people that have access to this. If you want to make something negative on the calculator, you use this button here. This one here, the little negative in the sign, because this is a take. It's different. If you make a number negative with this, your calculator spits out something. It says syntax error. It says, I don't understand what you're trying to say. So if you want to make something negative on the graphics calculator, you press that one, okay? For you guys using this, you just put the takes in, okay? Once you enter everything, select the variable you're trying to find out, and then you press alpha enter to solve. That's for the graphics calculator. For if you're using this, you just press the button. You just press the button that you want to find. So if I put in numbers here, 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 and I wanted to find FV, I would just go solve for FV. Alright?
What does that say on one after from the question to the what?
Into the variables. Into the variables on TVM solver. I'll give you plenty of time to get that, because that could go on your cheat sheet. How do I show working out in the graphics calculator? You just tell me exactly what you put in here, and then you put a star next to the thing that you solved for. I'm doing this in more depth than normal because, like I said, as soon as it's a compound interest question, the calculator will carry you. If you're doing this, FV is equal to PV 1 plus I over K, KM. There's a lot of potential to stuff that up if you don't do bed maths. If you use this, you don't have to worry about bed maths. Right now you'd be worried about what's all this mean. When we see an example, it's not too bad. Then after the recording, I'd like to do a more realistic example, because a lot of you are working. This is the closest to actual useful maths that you might do at year 11, okay? And let's work out a... What bank should we use? Bank SA? Incentive saver. Oh, why is that blocked? Bank accounts? Let's pretend you're a child, you're a kid. You want to save. Okay, we'll use that right for our realistic example. Is there a question? I
What,
know the writing's not great.
what does the word say after
Which one?
PV in this second?
PV, this one,
Yeah.
PMT. Because PV, these three could either be positive or negative depending on where the money's gone. Did anyone actually go home and check that they've got an interest earning account? Oh, you forgot. That's like 30 cents you missed out on. Oh, wow.
What's the word?
I love someone that gets interested when it pops up.
This one.
No.
Like 2 cents.
Oh, moving.
It's not compound.
All the bank accounts are compound interest.
It's saying at the same like interest, I guess. They're giving me the same amount of money each time I'm getting it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
How much is it growing each time? How much are you putting in each time?
I'm not putting in anything, I'm just keeping it at the same amount of money. It's going up, but it's only going up by the same amount.
Every time?
Yeah.
And those decimals probably, they just round it. Well, what I'll do, just for the use of the video, I'll leave this off to the side. We'll do an example so that you can see how TVM Solver works, and then you'll have time to get down, finish the notes off. I'm going to use this first, and then for the people that have the graphics calculator, I'll do the same for you, okay? Sally invests $15,000 in an account that pays 4.25% compounding monthly. Is that a kind of realistic interest rate? It's reasonable. This is a real one. I've just looked it up online. Okay, so it's semi-realistic. Compounding monthly. How much would her investment grow to in 5 years? How do we solve that? And then how much interest would she have earned? So, like I said down here, your working out must show what I chucked into this. Your working out is literally going to look like that and put the numbers in. So, A N equals. Let's leave that for now. Alright. What's the interest rate of her account?
4.5 or 2.5.
Good. And I don't need to convert, so I just put 4.25. PV, nothing. I've got the little stick figures there. She is putting 15,000 in the bank. So is the money moving towards her or away from her? Away. So it's going to be negative 15,000. PMT. At year 11, I've told you this is 0. Okay? Why is it also 0? Does it say she's putting 15,000 in the account and also putting $100 every month?
No.
She's just putting 15 grand in and leaving it for a while. FV, well, that's what I'm solving for. It's asking how much would her investment grow to? What's FV? It's the final or the future value of the investment. So put a star here. PY and CY at year 11, they're both going to be the same. How often is it compounding? Monthly? So how many months in a year? 12. So you would make PY and CY both 12. So in this calculator, I'm going to go 12. Notice when I press enter here, it'll automatically make them the same. Okay? PMT 0, what did we say she was putting into the bank?
15.
Negative 15,000. Why is it negative? Because she's putting it into the bank. The interest rate was 4.25. I still need to work this out. N is the total number of periods for the whole arrangement. So if she's doing it, compounding monthly for 5 years, how many times is it going to compound in total? Use your little calculator. 60. 5 times 12. 5 times 12 equals 60. So chuck that in. Can you see how we've entered everything except one thing? And that's the thing that I'm trying to work out. So if you're using this calculator, which is the majority of the class, you'll press that. And that tells you $18,544.50. So her 15 grand after 5 years is going to grow to $18,544.50. Does that allow us to answer how much interest she'll earn as well?
Yeah.
Because it's the difference, okay? So B is going to be interest. It's going to be $18,544.50 minus the 15,000 you started off with. So what's that going to be? $3,544.50. Can you get that example, please, before? Oh, no, actually, let me show how you do it on the graphics calculator. And the cool thing with the graphics calculator is you can do working out in here. So you boys that are using the graphics calculator, see I've got n, I can go 5 times by 12. You can see I worked it out in there. You've got a little calculator in there, 4.25, I hope that, yep. And to make sure you use this negative button, 15,000. Scroll down to 12, it automatically makes it the same. And so how do I solve? Remember their calculator, you just press the button. On our calculator, we have to go highlight FV and see how on top of the enter button, you've got this solve in green. So how do I get the green functions? You press the green button, alpha, enter, and then see how, does it spit out the same answer that we got before? So they work the same, it's just for some reason people have access to it. I don't know. So that's how you're doing the graphics, okay? I'll stop the video now, and then if anyone's working and would like to